I'm happy to give a recommendation, which is don't approach.
Please do. That was I hated that so much.
Was
how do you write a book without a conclusion?
Come on.
Okay, or at least a recommendation, right? And with the caveat, like, this is not going to work for you, right? And which is fair enough. Like, all of these books you have to take with a grain of salt because they might not work for you in particular.
I have a neat brother. I have two brothers and an older sister. I'm the youngest of four. My eldest brother, who's the shortest one of the four of us, is actually retired Colonel Tom DiTomaso. And if you Google that name, you'll learn a bunch about him. He's an Army guy. And the best part about it is we look like twins right here. I had to take off my glasses and shave my goatee, but like there. And for those of you that are not watching, I just put hands around my face because I'm a bigger guy and he's like 5'6", 120 pounds, soaking wet, and he's just a little guy, and I'm a big guy. And he would die if he ever heard me saying this. Is why I'm saying it on the air now. But the funny story that I want to get into is he, he's the colonel, and he's very, very much an in charge kind of guy, and his son and my nephew and my nephew's friend, they're all very like, I don't treat him like that. And sometimes, like I'll tease my brother just to get the reaction of my nephew and his friends. And you can't say that. I can say whatever the damn well I want to say.
Oh, no. But Uncle Adam's going to die.
Yeah. I'll just say, like, I'll completely disagree with him. I'll say I've said things to my brother Tom just to get a rise out of him that I don't even agree with.
That's always the best.
So just to get a little bit of the family dynamic in my house. But
yeah,
it's funny, though, because it's just, and I even tell it to him, my brother afterwards, like, I said that just to get a rise so you see what my nephews would say. And he's like, yeah, I know. And we just totally tease him. But it's fun. And I like to talk about my family once in a while because one little thing I like to say, with Memorial Day, and we're not near it yet, but it's coming up.
Coming up pretty soon. Next month, right?
Yeah.
May? Yeah.
And I recently got some very good family news. My nephew, Rob, just is going into the Navy, active duty, signing up, taking his oath. And in the DiTomaso family, both my grandfathers, my mother's father, my father's father served. My father served Vietnam vet. My brother served Iraqi, Afghanistan vet. My nephew served. My other nephew serves, and my other nephew's a cop. So I'm kind of the outcast a bit in my family.
This guy doing sales.
Yeah, I'm the tech sales computer guy. I was programming in everybody's VCRs in the 80s and 90s. But yeah, it's funny. I just want to say.
There's a reference that 90% of our audience probably is not going to get either, Adam.
Exactly. And if you do, kudos to you. But I just like to throw that out there. Just, remember with Memorial Day coming out, no matter what you believe, what you do, we're all Americans, whether you're left or right. And just remember to pat one of those folks on the back and say thank you. But
unless you're not an American while you're listening to this, you're also welcome.
Yes. Sorry, I get a little patriotic. I do.
It's all good.
I do because of my family. But yes, that is my little share moment for the day.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Adam. Well, welcome everyone to Demo Jockeys, where even if you're not, today you're just a little bit more American, and you can take that however you like it either way. But I'm Jack Cochran, your host, along with me, my fellow co-host, Adam DiTomaso, as always.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Today we're talking about Stolen Focus.
Stolen Focus. We are finishing out this book, the conversation we're having with Lidia Vasileva. Fantastic conversation. I don't want to stall us too much to get into it because if you were listening last week, I should say, if you haven't, if this is your first time tuning in, welcome, by the way. Welcome to our podcast.
Welcome.
This is what we do when we kick things off because we never take ourselves too seriously. But seriously, pause, go back, listen to part 1 last week. We're not going anywhere. We're going to be here, then come back and finish the conversation that we're going to have today. So without further ado, let's continue our conversation with Lidia.
I have a question for both of you, and I want to kind of bring it back to the book. And this was just something, we've talked about the digital detox, but does it really work? Do you think that doing that exercise that he did was beneficial to him, considering what happened to him as soon as he came out of that detox?
You ask it in a very good time. So I just came back from 4 days in one of the most beautiful locations in the UK, where there's practically no signal. So it's called the Lakes District, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful nature. It's as you can imagine. It's a land of lakes. It's absolutely gorgeous. Very little signal. I unintentionally did a digital detox, in the sense of I just forgot that I have a phone, because it usually doesn't buzz anyway. But I also didn't have anything scheduled or anything in my calendar to remind me that I needed to do stuff on any of the devices that I brought. Nothing magical happened. I had a very relaxing time. I didn't get a sort of like a, oh, this is how the universe works sort of realization moment. Nothing magical happened. I think we put, it's, how to put it this in a gentle way. I think it's one of those fads similar to diets that we get into, like, it sounds exactly like a diet, right? It's like, you can do whatever you want for the rest of the time, spoil your brain with whatever it is that you're doing. But if you spend like 2 months doing nothing, or, locking yourself in a cabin in the woods somewhere, and you're going to come out a brand new person. That doesn't happen.
Nope, not at all.
Spoiler alert.
It definitely does not. And it's actually the sign of what a lot of addicts do to get out of other things they're addicted to: alcohol, drugs, anything else. A lot of people will talk about, once a year I do a month detox where I don't partake. Actually a sign of a pretty heavy addiction if you feel the need to constantly do that. Especially because what happens is you come out of the detox and you normally go right back to your way of life that you were before. So what was the benefit? You proved you could do it, only to yearn to go back to it. Detoxes in general are typically beneficial, much in the same way the fad diets. You look at your no carb diet, you look at your all this diet, but not of that diet, no matter what you call it, right? Will they work while you're in it? Yeah, so long as you're committed to being in that lifestyle for the rest of your life. So if you feel like your problem is technology and you want to do a detox, the proper way to detox would be to never stop doing the detox. Then it'll work. But you can't go all or nothing and have any type of lasting effect on you, because you will just stumble right back into.
That's a good point. I mean, it's impossible for particularly the 3 people on this call right now to do a digital detox like that, because it's our living. It's how we make our pay our bills, how we have homes and motorcycles and video games and paint, because geez, I can't throw away my life. And it's funny when you said that, Jack, because isn't there a month of the year that's like no drink January or February or something like that? And I see the people who are like, I'm not going to drink that whole month, and they commit to it. And they go back to drinking 3-4 scotches a day. And I'm like, geez, can you really? I mean, I'm not a drinker. I don't drink, so I don't know. But I've never had a month where I'm like, I'm not going to do this thing for a month, because then I'm just going to wait for a month and start it right back up again.
I have a lot of people I'm very close to who have gone through addiction recovery for alcoholism. And I've asked them about the detox, because I wanted to know from someone who's actually gone through and actually recovered from being addicted to something, do these detoxes do anything? And that's where I was getting my wisdom from, was from them talking about it, that it actually tends to compound it and make it worse, because you're not actually dealing with the root of the problem. Instead, that whole month, you're just yearning for the time when you can start again, which will just amplify it. I will say, I have spent some time where I wasn't able to access technology. A couple of trips that I've taken where kind of have to be off the grid. And those were immensely enjoyable, but I didn't go to them because that was the reason why I wanted to do it. And I think that's the difference, is what's your intent of doing this time when you're not going to be accessing your technology? So Lydia, it sounds like that wasn't the reason why you were away on this weekend. That just was one of the things that happened, right?
Yeah, I had packed everything. I had packed my laptop, my tablet, everything, because I was thinking like, hey, if I wanted to do some work, I wasn't stopping myself consciously from like, no, you cannot do work, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. I just didn't have anything scheduled in the calendar, and just it sort of worked out in that way. But I keep on thinking, as we were talking about this, like what Adam said about like him. I'm putting words into your mouth a little bit, Adam, there, with like, purposefully doom scrolling.
Yeah.
But this to me is the same sort of thing of like, And I don't think the solution is detox, really. And this is again, if we circle back to the book, it's like, I know he purposefully said that he doesn't have any solutions. It's because he himself is still on this journey. But I'm happy to give a recommendation, which is don't approach.
Please do. That was I hated that so much. I'm like,
was
how do you
so
write a book without a conclusion?
Yeah, come on.
Okay, or at least a recommendation, right? And with the caveat, like, this is not going to work for you, right? And which is fair enough. Like, all of these books you have to take with a grain of salt because they might not work for you in particular. But I think for a lot of these things, which, because again, also in this book, he's talking about dieting, he's talking about, a whole bunch of stuff. But the conclusion to all, or the solution to all of this is somewhere in the middle, not one extreme or the other. It's about what is the minimum amount of effort and maximum amount of results that you can get from an action that you can take in your life. If it's to set some time aside to purposefully do, doom scrolling and watch videos, TikTok video, YouTube shorts, whatever it is, if that's what brings you joy from, for some parts of your day, absolutely do it.
Yeah.
If you think it's actually causing a problem because you do it for 6 hours straight, that's a different thing. Try to do it for 4 hours instead. Try to do it for 2 hours then, right? Until it gets to a point that you're comfortable with. But I think if I could rework this, rewrite this book, and instead of stolen focus, I say stolen introspection, that would be really the thing that I would prefer reading, because a lot of this, maybe again, a positive thing to this book is that maybe it will cause people to be a little bit more introspective. It's like, what are the things that brings me misery, or the things that pull away my focus from different elements. Do you guys, when I say introspection, what does that mean for you two?
For me, introspection, that's the intentional time that I need in order to process what's been going on in my day.
Yeah.
Again, it's not like I had never heard of it before, never thought of it before, but I realized, yep, I'm not doing that. I used to go on walks more where I'd have things to listen to just so I could process things. I would not spend time always pulling out my phone to fill every gap, so that I could spend time considering and thinking. And it was a very necessary part of my day that I wasn't doing. That was the big reminder that I got out of going through this process of the book, and then the conversations has been, have that time for that introspection. This happened. What does it mean? Should I be doing something about it? Should I let it go? Should I be addressing it differently? Or this thing I've been thinking about for 2 months. Do I have any new ideas about that thing? No? Okay. Well, good. I'm glad I asked. But I needed that time in my life. And that's, I feel like, I agree. That's what's been stolen, is the time we need in order to let our brains process and think.
That's interesting, because I've recently made time in my day, not because of this book, but because of just, stress in life. I got a 19-year-old, work, all that great stuff. We all have stressful lives. But I didn't give myself time to process anything. And recently I've turned around and started doing that. And I've been sleeping better. I've been functioning better. And it's funny, again, it's not the phone. It's not the doom scrolling. It's not checking LinkedIn. It's none of that. It's because, like I said, that's entertainment, or that's verification of a work email, which I consider LinkedIn messages to be a work email. Those 20 minutes of going for the walk with the dog, or just jumping in my truck. I live in a rural area, so I have plenty of nature around me. I get to go do a quick nature walk. No phone, leave it in the truck. Just me and my keys, go for a quick walk and come back, and I feel a million times better. This book, going back to here, just made it to me, all the obvious little things that we can do to make our life better, that we should be doing. That's one of the good things I pulled.
And if I can say as well, I love it when people we have on the show, Adam, end up interviewing us. Like,
I love it too.
I feel like really good conversation.
Is that not the usual way? Sorry.
We've had it with 3 guests now, have kind of done a little bit of that.
Yeah.
So you're being the third. So it's about half at this point, because we've had you are our 7th guest on the show, I believe. Yeah.
Lucky
We've been
number
doing
7
this for over half a year now. lucky number 7. But yeah, it's it doesn't happen all that often, but it's fun when it is, which leads to maybe what I'm going to ask you about next. That makes a good podcast host, someone who can ask the question. So,
oh, what a fantastic segue!
Fantastic segue, because I do want to spend some time before we're out of time, as time has flown by, You've got a lot going on in your life, a lot of changes recently. I want to give you a little bit of time. What is you're working on? How can people reach out to you? Why should people reach out to you? Where can they find you? Talk a little bit about the podcast.
You're going to immediately find even though I'm not natively from the UK, you're going to find a very British side of me suddenly of like, oh, I don't like talking about myself. Can we go back to
I'm
talking
telling you,
about
look, you have to. I'm going to,
Okay.
I will be, you have to. I'm not going to let this interview end until you tell us
Okay.
all the things about yourself.
Yes.
Oh, that's not a threat though, because this is a fantastic conversation. So yeah, let's keep on talking about. No, on a serious note.
Clear my calendar. Clear it.
I got no meetings for like 4 hours, so I'm good.
Oh, amazing! Oh, that's the thing.
I may
Is,
need
Jack,
to
I
refill
don't-
my water at some point if we do that. I have to get some breakfast. I don't know, something.
Yeah. I need to order some dinner. I just don't know, Jack, if you know how big of a question that is about, like, what are all the things that you're doing right now and what's happening in your life.
You don't have to cover it all, but
No, I know.
I know a lot. I know what I've been following. I know a lot's been going on.
So let me then maybe a little bit of background just for folks listening who for some reason I haven't completely spammed their LinkedIn presence with the billion things I'm doing. So until recently, or actually officially until the beginning of March, I was working for VMware. So I was a solutions engineer for them for 3.5 years. Beforehand, I was working as a network engineer. So I've always sort of been in tech. Sort of, said the network engineer, right?
I want to know what would have removed the sort of in your brain as well from that. Like what part of your career has not been in tech from your perspective?
No, I guess it's it's a very positive thing. I've been always surrounded by incredibly technologically minded and very brilliant people within tech. So in comparison to them, I am just sort of kind of into tech without really. That's why I keep on saying like, I'm kind of into tech as a network engineer, solutions engineer person. Yeah, kind of. I don't have a lab anymore. Like that's you mentioned your home setup in your lab. Like I don't have that anymore. So I'm not really that techy anymore. But
Which is funny because you probably know how to do all the things that I'm learning how to do, and so that's just as a.
Well, again, it's all relative, right? Everything, all of this is all very.
It is
relative.
always relative, yes.
Yeah,
but it's fair to say you've always been in tech. I'll
Yes.
say that for you.
Yeah.
You've always been.
Thank
in
you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. So, and the last month actually, so it's been officially 1 month since I went independent with my own company. So I've set up Packet Mage, which especially for folks networking, hopefully they're going to catch the packet in Packet Mage. Makes me very happy. So I've set up the company back in July as a response really to folks seeing a lot of some of the talks that I was doing with DemoFest, so the pre-sales event, and reaching out to me and going like, hey, love what you're doing, on LinkedIn, on these, events and everything. Can you come in and actually do some workshops for our team, our pre-sales team, whatever you're doing, we love it. Can you come teach them do the same thing? Which was a huge, honor. And, I was so flattered. And I thought people just wanted me to go in for free. And then they tell me like, oh yeah, just let us know your price. And I'm like, money. Right. Cool. Okay. I need a company. And that's really how it sort of all happened.
Okay. I can get paid for this? Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that wonderful. But I like talking about this stuff.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You're going to give me money
Sure.
for it? Oh my God.
Yeah.
The scrambling of how much should I charge for a workshop?
Yeah.
Enter.
Yeah, pretty much. No, mine was panically calling some of like my mentors that I've already knew in the pre-sales enablement space and going like, help.
How much do you charge?
Exactly. Like literally, it's like I told them like, people were asking me like, what do I do? And they're like, okay, so this is the price. What's the okay? That's a completely different story, but
You sure?
yeah, exactly.
That would be my first reaction.
Yeah. It's like how people were gonna pay anyway. But that was really always as a sort of like a side thing that I was doing because I just love being in pre-sales. I love the solution engineering side of things. Like I love this job. So I was like, yeah, that would be a great thing to sort of get into seriously at some point down the line. And then obviously, at the beginning of this year, the whole wave of layoffs happened. which, funnily enough, by the way, VMware was not affected by. We were affected by being bought out by Broadcom. And at the time, it was really much of a, oh, should I fight to find my place within Broadcom, or should I just take the money and try something else? And at the beginning of the year, I was saying like, yeah, I'll just take the money and I'll do something else. You know, I was applying for different companies. I was looking for a role a little bit different from just being pre-sales. So I was looking into being like pre-sales enablement, you know, or something, you know, like being you know, I was having a couple of conversations around how do I get more involved in the pre-sale space versus purely technological. Mr. Don Carmichael from, you know, who has for many years now been a shining star in the pre-sales enablement space. And also, I'm very lucky to say, a mentor and a friend of mine reached out and went like, yep, I'm retiring after, you know, this fantastic career that he's had both as within the pre-sale space and as an enablement and trainer and coach. And he said like, hey, do you want to take over my workshops? To which I screamed and shouted and said yes.
Absolutely.
That's the appropriate response, I believe.
Yes. I responded within 10 minutes of his email. Oh, this is something serious. Like I'm given an opportunity now that I cannot really just sort of let go on the side. So, because that was always going to be the biggest challenge of setting up from scratch. It's like, you know, oh, I need to create the content. I need to do everything from the beginning. So that's something I can do on the side whilst having a full-time job, which was what I already was doing anyway. So suddenly when that happened, plus obviously having enough savings to keep me going for a couple of years of giving this a proper go, plus a little bit of a momentum from what, you know, Don was obviously handing over, plus this, plus that. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pull the cord. I'm going to give it a go. And really it was, you know, February, March time when I was like, yeah, it's great. Like, just do it. And I went full independent and just said like, yeah, I'm giving myself a 2.5 years runway. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, hopefully I'm not going to make myself unemployable.
That's awesome.
I highly doubt that.
I highly doubt that as well.
Well, time will tell. I'm trying to be optimistic, but in reality, so what do I? So what, you know, that was the history. But what is it I actually do day to day? So pretty much for the last month, I've done at least 6 different U-turns as to what is it that I want to do with the business. And by the way, I'm very transparent with this sort of stuff. Apologies. Like,
no, we love it.
maybe as a business owner, I need to be more put together. But like, hey, I think it's really important to talk about this stuff because I wished someone else was speaking about these things. You know, that I can listen to. But in reality, what Packet Mage is, if we imagine it as a shop, and I love this imagery. It was something quite recent that I learned. Is if Packet Mage is a shop, at the very front of the shop is about whiteboarding, is about visual presentation, is about teaching people within tech how to communicate clearly in a very visual manner, in a very engaging manner. And that's really my sort of like initial passion, you know. So you combine both my creative skills, you know, the ability to paint and draw, plus the technical, how do we explain to people, how do we engage people, how do we get the messaging through. I'm realizing my speed of speech is increasing as I talk about this stuff because I love it. Apologies.
It's a good gauge that this is something that you care about.
Yes.
So that's really the sort of the big thing. Within the shop of Packet Mage, when you walk in, on the shelves, you find workshops around mastering demonstration, which are the things that I got from Don Carmichael. There are different, you know, it's sort of like standalone workshops as well. You can find all of this on packetmage.com. You can reach out. I do, you know, pretty much I do some leadership enablement. I do some, my favorite thing to do is like brainstorming with leaders. So pre-sale, like, you know, sometimes I talk to pre-sales leaders and they go like, you know, I have these 10 different things that I need to talk to, you know, consider and talk about. I'm like, okay, let's sit down together for like 4 hours, get the whiteboard out and just like, let's map it all out. And then I return back to them, sort of like a finished document file, mind map thing with all of the different things that need to be considering, my own thoughts, you know, opinions, etc., how to do that. So that's all in the shop, right? And somewhere in the back in the warehouse, you also have, you know, consultancy, you have some, you know, obviously like using my actual technical skills. So, you know, that sort of thing. So Packet Mage is practically me encapsulated in a company. in reality. Plus, obviously, all the content creation side, posting on LinkedIn. I am just about to launch a YouTube channel as well with a couple of videos there. So I'm all about just putting as much stuff out there that's helpful to people, really, when it comes to the pre-sale space. I also still have my passion for networking, network engineering, because I think it's one of those like unsung heroes of technology because it's not sexy enough, which I don't understand. I think networking is super sexy, but
So it's okay. It's I've had my whole career selling things that are basically pipes, right? Data stuff behind the scenes, which is similarly not as attractive from the external, but I couldn't think of anything else that I'd want to do from a career.
Yep.
I do have one more question for you today. You know the UK, you love the UK, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I lived here for the last 6 years. So
okay, excellent. Well, then you might get a kick out of this.
Go on.
The first place that I visited, and I always ask this question of anyone who lives in the UK because I always like to see their reaction. But the first place I visited when I went to UK was Staines.
Oh no!
And that's the reaction I was looking for. Staines, I like to call the New Jersey of the UK. And if you've ever been to New Jersey,
I'm so sorry.
And
we're hopefully not offending a good percentage of our population.
No,
either
folks,
those in
that
New
live
Jersey,
in Staines.
Staines or New Jersey people, I apologize. Please,
My wife's from
continue
New Jersey,
to follow
so
us.
I can
Don't
say that.
unsubscribe. I promise. I'll talk to Adam afterwards. We'll have a good heart-to-heart.
We'll get HR involved.
Get HR involved. Oh no, it stinks. No, the reason why it's not a bad place. It's not a lovely place. And when I say it's like New Jersey, I say it's like it's when you go to when you come to America, you think New York City, you think California, you think Boston, you think these big cities are I'm going to go see the Grand Canyon because that's America. You don't think of Red Bank, New Jersey. Well, that's actually where Bruce Springsteen was born. But like North Clifton, New Jersey, which is standard Americana, urban sprawl type of place. And Staines is not a tourist trap. Staines is this is where all the UK people, like where real UK people live, born and raised there. And it's funny because the reason why I went there was because I was working for a company at the time and they had an office in Staines. So as someone who's
VMware's headquarters were also in Staines. That's why I know it.
Yeah, and it's like an office park, and it was just funny because I'm like, the first time I come to the UK, I get in the cab, and first cabbie goes, first time here. I'm like, yeah. He goes, where are you going? I said, Staines, and he goes, what? I'm going to Staines.
Oh, there's so many gorgeous places in the UK.
I know, and I went to the most boring section.
This is the problem with business traveling in general, is even when you go to the nice places, unless you've taken extra time, you haven't really seen the parts that you want to see. You've seen the office parts. It's the problem. It's a problem.
Yeah. That's why when big companies advertise a lot of travel, don't get caught into that. It means nothing.
Not the fun travel. Really, it's not the fun travel.
Unless you're flying back-to-back days on you're going to fly in Tuesday, have a meeting, and fly back Tuesday night or Wednesday morning.
So before we go, though, because we are running a little bit short on time, any final thoughts on where if people are like, yes, Packet Mage sounds fantastic, I need to get a hold of Lidia, what's the best way for them to do that?
Right. So first of all, if you want to hear more from me, you can definitely find me having a podcast together with an amazing Paul Harris at the Wandering Tech Podcast. You can find it on anywhere where you listen to your podcasts. But if you want to find more about me and what I'm up to, you can go on packetmage.com. That is packetmage.com. Or find me on LinkedIn. That's usually where I am the most active and most sort of interacting with people. I don't believe in any of the other social medias really, so LinkedIn is the only place to find me.
Excellent.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much for being on the show. Been a delightful conversation. Time has flown by. And really appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
And that, unfortunately, is it. That's all the time we had with Lidia. I had a blast, Adam.
Oh, so did I. She's awesome. And I heard a rumor of grumblings, and I'm going to start a rumor that there may be future collaborations.
I like that rumor. I don't know if it's true. I cannot confirm nor deny.
But we could start the rumor.
I like that. Could everyone please start the rumor about the collaboration between us and Wandering Tech? I think that'd be fantastic.
Yes, agreed.
All right, well, Adam, what are we reading next month as we're finishing up Stolen Focus for this month?
Next month is exciting, folks, because we're going to get into the 4 pillars of critical thinking, foundation, process, improvement, and application by Patrick Ian Meyer.
Ooh, 4 pillars, eh?
4 pillars
4
and 103 techniques and hacks.
You
So
know,
like 107 things.
I like how the one, like each pillar is just one of the 103, or they're additional.
107 things.
I don't think that's. Oh, plus there's a book, so 108,
Yeah.
and his name.
Oh my God, that was funny.
Well, tune in for the 100 plus things to learn in the next few weeks over the month of May. It's going to be fun.
Maybe we'll
Moving
break
into
it up
summer.
into 25 apiece.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to have to just one after the other if we're getting through 103.
Yeah, it's going to be a catalog.
Yeah, we got a great, fantastic guest lined up as well. Not going to spoil you who that is, but definitely find out soon. If you want to be in the backstage, that is coming up early May as well. So hop into slack.demojockeys.com for all the details about joining us in the backstage when we live stream the interview. So to do it today. Also, Adam, what else should they do? They need to like, they need to subscribe.
Oh yeah, I'm like dropping the ball. Like, hey, just get away from us. No,
no. Like, you gotta tell their friends.
Tell your friends.
Go out and to the supermarket and tell your person at the self-checkout who helps you when you scan your alcohol. Tell them about it.
And when you go to your mom's and you set up YouTube TV, subscribe for your mom.
There you go.
Because that way, your mom's going to love us. All moms love us.
It's true.
That's just like historically true. So I think that's an option. And, your kids, your phone, every channel, open up a new account and subscribe. Help the algorithm and join us on Slack.
I'm pretty sure if you're setting up filters for your kids' phones, allow demo jockeys and nothing else.
Yes, we only use bad language occasionally.
But it's contextual. They're learning the appropriate times to swear, which I think is more important than not swearing.
Yeah, 'cause it's all a part of life, the swear.
They're going to hear it.
Yeah.
They may as well know when they should and shouldn't.
Right. Let's give them guidance, folks.
Yes. This in before neither Adam nor Jack are allowed near schools anymore, but that's a different story.
I'm an empty nester.
Oh, my goodness. Well, this has been a blast. Really enjoyed everything, Adam. Always a pleasure speaking with you as well. We'll see everybody next week.
See you next week, folks.